Your review, Hearn.
Jamal Niaz here with Eddie Hearn. We've just had the press conference for a stacked Manchester bill, and you got picked on again.
I don't know why. I'm such a nice bloke. I can't understand it. And they all come up to me after and go, "Hey, I just thought I'd spice it up a little bit." I was like, "Mate, fucking hell's going on?" It's like Chisora. But he's got that. They've got the hump. They don't have a rematch clause.
Right.
Would you think Sergey Kovalev's got a rematch clause fighting Canelo? I mean, so
you mustn't have been flapping as much as last week.
No, I'm not, I can handle Brian Cohen. I just can't handle Dereck Chisora. So,
how are you and Dereck at the moment?
All right, fine. Right? Fine after, fine before.
Yeah.
You know.
I was actually a bit difficult to watch.
Which one, the Chisora one?
Yeah, it was actually
that
really
was quite funny.
To watch.
But it's only difficult because you never know with Chisora what he's capable of doing at any one moment in time.
Exactly. I mean, in this city, he showed fully what.
Yeah, you really do have to actually be careful.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the magnitude of this card then. Some brilliant fights. Katie Taylor going up, Joshua Buatsi, world title eliminator, and then Crawler's swan song as well. Yeah,
I mean, really pleased for Katie. And by the way, having been in that press conference, this is a tough fight. You know, Lenada 2 is big girl at 140. Katie is 140 now. She's a small lightweight. She's going to be massively oversized in this fight, but she's going to have to use her feet and her boxing skills. And if she does that, I don't think there's anyone that can touch her. But we also know she loves to fight. It's going to be a brilliant fight. Buatsi Caparello is a great fight. You know, I keep talking in every interview about that fight between where he's operating at the moment and World Championship level. This is the perfect one in between that. Great developmental fight. WBA World Title Eliminator on the line as well. And Crawler. You know, Crawler's given so much to this city. The city have given him so much back. You know, and when you think about those great 7 nights, really, you know, Murray, Perez, Barroso, Linares, and Burns. It's been incredible.
You get a bit of a lump in your throat.
Yeah, I do, because I think he was never expected to be that guy. You know, if you'd have said 5 years ago, right, Crawler's going to have 7 big headlight nights at Arena. They're going to be 5 of those would be big World Championship fights. 2 of them are Unification and Ring Magazine Championship fights as well. You know, and he's such a nice bloke. And to be part of a team that's delivered him those opportunities makes me very proud, and I'm very proud of him because he's a real nice bloke, like one of the nicest blokes you'll meet, and he wants a proper fight. You know, he wants to win. I want him to win as well, but he don't want to go in there and have this joke fight to end his career. He wants to put himself through it. And
with the case of Buatsi, obviously he's got massive fights ahead should he win on this card, and he's a guy that you really don't need to tell him to keep on the straight and narrow and look ahead at the task at hand.
And again, I liken him to, in that respect, like people like Devin Haney, you know, who you don't have to worry about. You know, got great work ethic, going to be working very, very hard, and yeah, he's a brilliant talent. But we're going to find out now against Caparello where he's at, because you don't go in and just breeze through Caparello in a round or two. It's going to make him think. He's going to make him fight. And it's going to be a really tough fight.
If he does breeze through him though, are you really like...
You're almost ready for a world title, but I still would give him 1 or 2 more fights before he challenges for a world title, because look at the division. You know, take Kovalev out, who's probably the only, say, weakling. He's still a great fighter. You've got Bivol, Beterbiev and Godzik. I mean, they're brilliant fighters, so difficult to beat. So no tearing rush, but we've got to keep it exciting for the fans, and we've got to keep Buatsi switched on, and I think this is a perfect guy.
You mentioned Devin Haney there. Impressed again at the weekend. A big American superstar on your hands.
I really believe he is. You know, like, our job's to create the hype, and going into the fight, you're always a bit scared that, oh, is he definitely the real deal? And it's funny going into that fight, people saying, oh, you know, Abdullah's been in the wild card, he's fucking good, he's strong, he's hurting people. And then you think, oh, blimey. And then he does that to him, and then everyone says, oh, Abdullaev's not much. You know, so there are still levels between Abdullaev and Lomachenko, obviously, and they're the ones we need to start reaching. But he wants it all now. You know, he wants to fight Lomachenko now. He wants to fight Teofimo Lopez. He wants to fight Ryan Garcia. All these big fights, Gervonta Davis. Mega fights out there.
Where do you think he is with those fights?
I think he's ready. I do. I mean, I'd still, you know, in an ideal world, I'd like him to have more experience, but I can't stop him. You know, he wants those fights now, and we've got to make sure that we deliver for him.
Also, KSI, Logan Paul, it was really surreal to see you up there with them. We all know that the change of mindset came for you. Beforehand, you're part of it now. What was it like actually seeing those two guys go to work on stage?
Absolutely mental.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times where I was thinking, what on earth are you doing up here?
Yeah.
But you let them go with it, and these guys are geniuses. Like, in terms of what they do, having been around them on Saturday, I've never seen anything like it. 700,000 people watching the press conference live just on their YouTube channels. I think it's up to 9 or 10 million have watched that press conference.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, Frank Warren's show on Saturday got 24,000 audience in this country. That is frightening. And these guys are able to turn on a switch and hit you with 700,000 audience like that. They're bright, and by the way, they're big lumps and they're in shape, and they will have a tear up at the Staples Centre. So now we know their global audience is going to be huge, but how do we retain them? The pessimists will say, well, you won't retain them. Maybe we won't. What we're going to do? Not try.
No, exactly.
So what we've got to do is we've got to try.
No,
but it is, because we've got to try and retain them. So in that respect, if there's, I don't know, 50 million people worldwide watching the fight, if we keep 1%, it's 500,000 people, new boxing fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the worst case scenario. So let them see greatness of the sport through Devin Haney, through Billy Joe Saunders, through these guys, and hopefully they fall in love with those guys and they fall in love with boxing.
And I'm guessing with sort of the wage slip that Billy Joe's going to get on that card, he's not.
Oh, he's had worse nights.
Yeah, he's not going to be too disputive of that.
No, but he understands as well. Do you know what? The fighters understand it.
Everyone's
it's just
really
people online who don't have a brain who goes, oh, what? It's like Frank Warren. Oh, he's in the big time now. Billy Joe Saunders is here. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
it's like, mate, before he boxed in an empty Conference League football stadium in front of about 100,000 audience on TV. Now he's going to box on a Staples Center, Los Angeles, sold out card with a global audience of about 50 million. So yeah, it is the big time. But unfortunately, some people are too much of a dinosaur to actually understand marketing, numbers, and a digital world.
And I saw that you did go on Logan Paul's podcast as well.
Yeah, but that's another thing. So we're talking, and he goes, this is great, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And everyone, the whole team comes out, puts up a set, puts up a studio, and he's like, right, boom, boom, cameras in, right, go, live. And it's like 230,000 people watching this thing live.
How much do you admire both of those guys as businessmen as well?
Geniuses. Genius. Like, being around them, you'd just think that they were a couple of idiots.
Yeah. No, geniuses. Geniuses. And his brother was on that podcast as well.
But also, he's a nutter.
Yeah.
But he's a genius and all.
He's been calling out a guy who's big in the MMA world, sort of like Conor McGregor, a bit Dylan Dennis. Have you heard of him?
No, but there's another one as well he's been calling out. Sensei something, I don't know.
I think he was talking about YouTubers, but he's legit calling out one of the best grapplers in the world. And they want to have a boxing match. Dylan Dennis has never had a boxing match, but he's an MMA fighter.
I've got no idea. I mean, what it would make more sense to do is to put him on an undercard the month later to try and retain that audience.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you've got the DAZN monthly subscribers. So you're going to, I don't know, 500,000 new subscribers for this fight, probably more. And by the way, next month we've also got on the undercard, we've got Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, that's clever. But whether that happens or not, I don't know.
So with the future of those guys, obviously Logan's going to, both of those guys are going to want to be main eventers. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out like that. This isn't a start for me of putting on loads of YouTube main events. Yeah. But I tell you what it is. If this fight's decent and people enjoy it, you're going to get loads of people trying to do it. So, you know, if that audience keeps staying and watching, how'd you say no?
No, I agree. Tyson Fury also fought the weekend. I don't know if you caught that performance.
I haven't. I was on a plane, but I was shocked when I landed. And, you know, I was shocked that he managed to win the fight with the cut, as in they didn't stop the fight. I mean, but I just think that he wasn't motivated for the fight. It's difficult when you're in those kind of fights. I think he'll be much better for the Wilder fight if that ever happens.
Obviously, he was riding a wave of complete positivity in terms of the media, the hype from this year, and then John goes off on that rant about
it's weird. I don't know.
Within the team.
I don't know. You never know. I mean, you know, you've got to think Ben Davidson's done a good job because he's been part of turning Tyson's life around. Although ultimately he's the one that's done it. But the year's been disappointing for Fury because he was coming off the crest of December 2018 against Wilder, which he was like God.
Yeah.
And now he's had such a stinking year fighting Otto Warlin and Tom Schwartz.
Can you I mean, the argument that Frank would have in that case is introducing him more to the American market, even though they had that massive
no one subscribed.
Yeah.
They said they sold 8,000 tickets. That will be released soon by Las Vegas Commission. I would be astonished if they sold more than 3,000 tickets. So, listen, I understand the mindset, but it's not working because it can't work when you're putting them in poor fights. Luckily, I mean, they got out of jail, but it was remotely competitive.
Yeah. But,
you know, I don't think they've done a great job building his profile since the Wilder fight. You know, if we think his profile has risen since the Wilder fight, I disagree.
Do you think that rematch actually happens at the date that they're saying early next year?
Not on the date they're saying. But yeah, I expect it to happen. But I'm not sure Wilder Ortiz will happen. I think they're struggling with the money. But maybe. But then they can't even go straight into the fight because I don't think Fury will be ready. So it's all a bit of a balls up. But I'm sure that fight will get done.
And he announced his targeted year of fights that he'd want next year. Anthony Joshua was part of that.
Yeah.
How easy do you think that's still going to be?
I think it'll be. I think Fury would fight Joshua.
Yeah.
We have to get the deal right. Look, it's a lot easier now. AJ's lost to do a deal than after he's won. But if AJ beats Ruiz, he's the top dog by a mile. So wait for December 7th.
And just talking about Ruiz Joshua too. The undercard of that fight, any updates on who's going to be involved?
No, Povetkin against Hunter is a fight that we're looking at, a fight we're interested in, and actually Hunter against Price as well. Scott Quigg against John O'Carroll, another fight I'm thinking about. Jesse Vargas against Liam Smith, etc.
Good fights.
Yeah.
Good fights. Right, thanks so much for your time, Eddie.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.